return by the movement. It's a chill vibe.
Yeah, man.
I dig it. I dig it. My name is Luis Romero, and I'm the Folk Fentanyl guy, and this is the Folk Fentanyl podcast. I got my homie Aaron on here.
Hey.
How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah.
That's right.
Thanks.
Yeah, dude. Where did you grow up, dude?
Well, I'm originally from San Diego, born and raised.
Fuck yeah.
So I grew up more like, mostly kind of a little bit all over the place as my parents moved around when they were younger. But we kind of got established in like the Mount Helix area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so East County out there. And,
no shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was nice, I mean, cool neighborhood, all that kind of stuff. And, I had like a creek in the backyard, all that kind of stuff.
Shit.
Yeah, so it was cool to be a little boy running around out there with your BB gun and all that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, so and then my parents divorced when I was about separated when I was like in 5th grade. My dad moved to Pacific Beach.
Okay.
And so I did back and forth. So
two different areas too.
Yeah, 2 different areas, but I was always more attracted to Pacific Beach, the beach area. Yeah. I like to surf. I like to skateboard, all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, there's like that little lifestyle that follows behind it.
Yeah. That was always cool. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Kind of best of both worlds in some way or another.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So it was like weekdays here and weekends over there.
I try to do more weekends over there, so I could just be in the ocean, surf in the morning, skate in the afternoon, surf at night. And then like every other Wednesday, of course, was with Pops and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but growing up over in that area of Mount Helix area, it's like right behind the school, Fuerte School, so we could walk to school, all that kind of stuff. But funny thing is like that school, like me and my buddy used to get in a lot of trouble down over there. I was kind of a terror. I had an older brother,
for sure,
and my mom taught dance, and so she was always really busy. My dad was, really charming guy, really, he was in like the restaurant industry and then the building industry. And he was just like really kind of like a fun guy, charismatic, yeah. And so they had a lot of parties at the house all the time. So I was always seeing, alcohol and fun and all that kind of stuff. And this was early in the 80s, you know what I mean? Okay. So it was a lot looser back then.
For sure.
Yeah. And so we always had big parties at the house. And, and so it started pretty young for me and my brother. And our cousins, we'd always steal bottles of wine, bring them downstairs and chug them, and all that kind of stuff. It started pretty early doing that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and then my brother, big influence, 3 years older than me.
Okay.
He and I used to fight like tooth and nail, man. Like he was
really,
but he was 3 years older than me, so he like kicked my ass.
Yeah, he always win. Yeah, for sure.
So I'd have to come and get my shot in and then run away.
Right.
Cheap shot.
Right.
But I got a very bad anger problem.
I see.
Yeah, because I'd come home, get lit up all the time by him, and then. I go to school and someone my own age would call me like, freckle face, kids are mean and stuff like that. And, so I just throw. I see red and throw. And so I was always in trouble at school, like always in trouble. Like it's funny. My dad took me to school one day and he was like rubbing some crumbs off my face. And he's like, you don't want everybody to call you freckle face. It's one of my dad's favorite stories.
Yeah.
And I said, they already call me crumb face, and he's like, well, the next person does that, hit him, right?
Wow.
So I took his advice, and my mom came to pick me up, and I had hit 3 guys that day, and they were holding me in the office, and yeah, and
so Dad said it was cool.
Yeah, and that's what I said. But my dad definitely was a drinker, and and my mom too, but not like alcoholically. They just like to have a good time, a lot of parties, right? But my brother and I hated each other, kind of like, we were kind of at each other's throat. And I said, my mom taught dance out of the house. So, it was easy to kind of just take off all day when you got home. Mm-hmm. And I did that because, he was, my brother's kind of, he and I would fight. So I just go out and hang out with my buddies, right? Sure. But so my brother got me stoned in like 3rd grade. The first time I smoked weed, right? And it was probably the barter system, you know, like if he got me stoned, then I couldn't tell on him for getting stoned.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, he got you.
Got me, yeah. And, you know, it's not like I started smoking weed every day at that point, but like I always had kind of a, you know, like just kind of an attitude of kind of like attracted to the kind of wild side of life, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, so actually, I actually got arrested twice, you know, for vandalizing that school. Mm-hmm. Well, the first time was like in 5th grade, and then the next time was like in 8th grade. And
oh, shit.
And I got arrested at, you know, at school, you know what I mean? So like did really wonders for the reputation.
Oh, for sure. It made a big scene, I bet.
Yeah. So, so, you know, people talk, you know. And,
like, oh, shit, man, he went to jail.
Yeah, well, yeah. And the thing was that I didn't even have to go to jail. We were in that socioeconomic class over there in which like, you know, anywhere else, I probably would have gone to jail. But like, you know, so... You know, I got the privilege of not having to go to jail and just do community service and be like, you know, suspended from, you know, that kind of stuff. All
that little stuff.
Yeah. So, you know, I was definitely kind of running a little wild pretty early and young with the drugs and alcohol, you know.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Yeah. So, moving on from there, you know, like my brother got kicked out because my brother was going pretty heavy on the drugs, right? Okay. So then I'm with my mom, and he goes to live with my dad in PB, right? And so, you know, they start trying to put him in and out of treatment centers and you know, doing that. And we had to go like family therapy and all that kind of stuff. Right. So all the attention was on my brother.
Okay, got it.
And I, you know, I'm trying to live 2 lives. I'm trying to be like the good kid, you know, and do the things that go to school. Don't get kicked out of school. I could see that stuff. That was like, you know, and they were so focused on him, and then the separation and the divorce, right? That I was, you know,
I see,
kind of had free reign to kind of, you know,
kind of move around.
Yeah. And you know, so you know, like I just kept on, you know, partying and just getting really good at hiding it. You know, they're focused on them, and I was just really good at hiding it, you know. Yeah. And then, you know, like, you know, going into high school, like, you know, I was an athlete like my whole life. Like, you know, I played soccer on like, you know, for like the Hotspurs, which is like AAA select team.
Oh, okay.
And so I was always doing that. My dad was like, you know, would coach, you know, the baseball and then soccer, you know, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, it was just always kind of on that train, you know. So when I got into high school, I started playing water polo because I was always like a water kid. My mom taught swim too, so and at my school, football, you know, they sucked at the time, you know. And,
you don't want to be on there.
Yeah, and the water polo team was like studs, you know. They won all this stuff, and so I always wanted like to go to Valhalla and play water polo for them, right?
Oh, no shit, dude.
Yeah. And, you know, we did really well. We won CIF a couple of years and all that kind of stuff. And, and actually, you know, we're really solid. But, like, you know, the whole time I'm like, you know, in school, you know, like I don't. My thing was I didn't have a whole lot of money. You know, we were in an area that had a lot of money, but through the divorce and the business and my dad's problems and all that kind of stuff, we were scraping by.
Sure.
You know, and at one point, me and my mom moved to an apartment, you know, so I could keep going to that school. You know, and you know, most of the people around that area were pretty wealthy. Yeah. And so, you know, in school, seeing these guys, you know, and going to class while I'm going to, you know, therapy and treatment for my brother and then my anger man, you know, all this kind of stuff, right? As I'm listening to these teachers and they're trying to tell me what life is, I'm seeing a whole different side of life.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't see, you know, what they're teaching me is going to help me in my life.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I started having a real disbelief in like the education system and going that direction, right?
For sure.
And, you know, I had undiagnosed dyslexia and ADD, right? And so, like, I wasn't a great student. So I just thought I was dumb. So the two choices you get when you're dumb, right, where you think you're dumb, you're not going to be able to go to college and all that kind of stuff. Like, when recruiters would come and check us out, like, they're talking about these schools, I'm just like, I'll never make it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never make it there. Like, you know, like my spelling sucks. There's just no way that you know I'm gonna make it to college. So that's out, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and so I, you know, I it's like I started playing in a band, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be a rock star, right?
Fuck yeah, you are, dude.
So that's the thought, right? So and then all my idols and rock stars are like, drugs,
alcohol.
yeah. So lots of, doing a lot of acid, doing all that kind of stuff, and and like tripping at school, every Friday was exactly what it meant. It was every Friday, we take acid.
Hell yeah.
And and I'm getting good at pulling it off, with my mom. My mom was a hound dog for looking for marijuana and all that kind of stuff. So I had to be really good at hiding that.
Oh,
you know
for sure.
I mean? And after my brother getting in trouble, she was on me, man. So she tried her hardest, and so did my dad. But I got really good at playing the double life, right?
Right.
But the only way for me to do all this stuff was to sell, sell the drugs, right? Yeah. All my friends wanted to party. I'm not good thief, you know what I mean? Sure. I've just never been a good thief. I'm not good at doing those things. But I just saw that as kind of like a business, And I know my brother was kind of doing it too. And
I see.
And I just kind of fell into like selling to everybody. Yeah. I liked that little power and that like making me feel like accepted and like it gave me like a name or identity.
Yeah, absolutely.
At that age, it's just you're so looking for it, and and I didn't know where it was going to be, you know what I mean? And when my brother, like at one point, like got kicked out of the school I was at again because he came back after like the 5 different high schools he went to, like Chaparral, all that, Mark Twain, all the schools that continuation schools.
Right.
He got let back in, dude, and I remember like. He got kicked out, and then like the seniors are asking me, and I'm a freshman, where's the weed, right? You know what I mean? So it just kind of lined up, right?
Yeah.
And so and it got a little bit harder, there because I found crystal meth, yeah, and I found that like more around my junior year, and I remember I've been ditching so many days like my senior year, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm leaving every day. Like, I'm not going to school after, the season's over. That's the only reason. Like sports really kept me connected. Without sports, I wouldn't have made it through high school.
You just dropped out straight up.
Yeah, I would have never made it. But I went to I get called in. They're like, you ditched like 100 and something days. Not like full days, but I leave like part of the day,
Okay.
And they're like, that's impossible. And I'm like, yeah, it must be impossible.
Must be. Totally.
It's probably true. But I was like, yeah, there's no way that's true.
Yeah, right.
And so.
Take it to the box.
They must have not marked me in. I don't know. And so they're like, you get one more chance, right?
Right.
And like this point, my parents are not living there and together, and I'm living just with my mom, and they're not like, really civil to each other at this time, and, which is, another thing that, you kind of begin to have this like disbelief in lots of things, not school, but marriage and commitment,
personal life,
just things like this, right? Life's not like what we imagined it would be.
Sure.
So they say you get one more opportunity. So the next day I ditch again, right? Uh-huh. And we're doing meth, and I just have this awakening, like, because they're telling me I'm not going to graduate. And I got like 3 classes I have to pass. And, I haven't done all the homework in these classes, I haven't been there,
For sure.
And I don't feel smart anyways, you
right.
know? And so I had this, hit of, like this meth, I took a big old rail and it just hit me. I'm like, I can do this.
Oh, damn, dude. Motivated.
I'm going to use meth,
Yeah.
And so I did. And so every day I got caught, come back in, they take me in there, they get one more opportunity.
Yeah.
And so I just used meth every single day. And so I started selling meth and I, and I had, my family tried to get me tutors in a couple of classes. So they gave me Saturday school every day. Yeah. I mean, every week. And then they gave me detention every day for the rest of the 3 months of school. Mm-hmm. And I studied and I tweaked out. And I worked out late at night because I couldn't sleep, and and I thought this drug worked for me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So this is
you're better. You're much better with it.
It's giving me proof that the chemicals work.
Yeah.
So, which wasn't good, right?
Right. No.
Yeah. And then after I graduated like 145 pounds. I'm really skinny. All that kind of stuff. But I don't know, it got more attention, you know, so
sure.
it's like, oh, that's good, whatever. Yeah. And so, you know, that was like kind of getting really kind of bad into that, you know, that lifestyle. Right. I didn't, you know, try to go to college, of course, because like, you know, I only found out the day before graduation that I got to graduate, you know, and because I did pass all those classes.
Nice.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? You know, I said I had ADD. They never gave me Ritalin because my dad's I'm not putting my kid on meth back in the day,
right.
but like maybe it would have worked. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, so like, you know, I didn't really start to. So, I kind of had this epiphany because I saw like everybody getting kind of strung out on meth, you know,
right.
around me, you know, and it just looked dirty, you know what I mean? And so, you know, but I liked the uppers, right? And so I started, you know, doing cocaine. I had a job at a restaurant, and I started talking with the guys in the back, and then I got this good hookup on cocaine, and so I started selling cocaine, you know, after graduating, stuff.
That's
like
where
that.
the money's at.
Yeah, well, yeah, and so I started making some good money doing that, and I wasn't like I was trying to get rich. I just loved to party, man. Yeah. I used to, like, in high school, I'd throw like keggers at my house to make extra money. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
and I just like to have the party, the tent, and then I'd make some money, right? And so the same thing with this one was, you know, it was just like, you know, like I could have parties at my house all night. Everybody's doing we're drinking. And, you know, just, it was like, I was always trying to have like both lives though. I wasn't fully in there. My brother was fully into the addiction and, you know, going out of jail and prison. And I thought like I could carry both lives and still be like the normal, successful, just, you know, have it together.
Right.
You know, I started, so I like at one point I'm on cocaine and like we're at this party and we're all talking. You know how people talk on cocaine, it's nonstop. Hey, let's start a business. Hey, you know, I love you, man. You know, all that shit. You know, we started talking about like, you know, one of my buddy's friends went to Alaska and we're salmon season up there and made a whole bunch of money. And so we're all, you know, jacked up on Friday night. Yeah, let's go to Alaska. Yeah. And then my buddy the next morning calls me. He's like, "You serious?" I'm like, "Fuck it, let's go." Yeah. And so we left on Monday. No real plan, just took off with a few of us. And, yeah, like 5 of us, and you know, and that was. I kind of looked at it as a way of drying out. I couldn't stop selling the cocaine because I kept making money. Yeah, I was doing too much all the time. My life was kind of getting obsessed with it, you know, and I was like, all right, you know, this is going to be like my first treatment center, my own, like, you know, treatment center.
I've heard so many comparisons about that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People, because you don't party, you just work.
You just work. Yeah.
That's what they say. It's like a 6-month rehab on a boat.
It is, and that's what it was. The SS Woodbine, where I lost my mind. Yeah. So we go there, and then when I met some guys there who like. You know, one of this guy just had like, you know, all these crazy tattoos, deckhand, you know, and he, you know, we became friends with him, and he was talking about heroin, and I said, and I said, because I was always searching, like I like to know things. I don't like to talk out the side of my neck about things. I wanted to have all the experience, and I told you all these rock stars who I liked, all this stuff.
Heroin's the big one,
and that's the one. Like that makes the creativity.
Absolutely,
and that's where you right. And so I was like, you know, just had this like, you know, thing to it, right? But I didn't know anybody was doing heroin, right? And so I said on that boat, and I said, if I get off this boat, I'm going to try heroin, right? Okay. So me and my buddy, we take that money, you know, and we come back to San Diego, start going right back to the same old thing, right? And so he and I decided that we're going to move to Mammoth because I was big into snowboarding too. Oh, cool. Right. And so we moved to Mammoth. And like everywhere I go, you know, I found a niche. And so now I'm living up in Mammoth with my buddy. We're partying, we're doing all that kind of stuff. But, you know, there's a need. So I can go to San Diego and fill that need by, you know, selling some stuff and provide myself with my drugs that I need, right? I see. And so I started doing that. Well, I'm on that trip. One of my friends came up and visited, and he's like, I see him on the hill. I'm like, hey, well, let's hook up tonight. You know, come on, you know, my place. And he brought over a vial of morphine, and he had needles, right? And this is my first time shooting up, and
holy shit,
Yeah, and and like, I'm like, hey, dude, this is a vial right from the hospital.
Yeah, right.
It's a brand new needle. You know what I mean? This is what they would give you in a hospital. Who cares, right?
Right,
it's not the
not street drugs.
Yeah, yeah. And so he's he fixes me up and God, man,
that's it.
Yeah, that was what you're searching for when like with cocaine, they're always looking for the next line.
Yeah.
With like drinking, you're looking for a little bump to keep drinking, right? Or the pill to come to. When I hit that, and that warm like hug comes over you, I was just, it was like what I've been searching for forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That feeling.
The final puzzle piece.
Bro, yeah. I'm sitting outside on in a snowy day, like a snowy evening, right? He's trying to hit because he's already struggling to find veins again, that,
already there.
That cha-cha.
Fun.
Yeah, and so I'm outside just like sweating, like in my boxer shorts in the snow, like on my deck, you know what I mean? Just like watching snow come down and going, oh my God, I feel so good, right? Right. So while I'm in Mammoth, my brother gets out of prison. And he wants to come up and visit with my mom. And, of course, he and I get into it again and have a pretty good blowout, right? Where we're just like, back and forth, on each other, almost getting physical. And we have this, like, kind of, powwow finally, breakdown. I think, I broke into tears. I don't know. It's just like, and he and I started talking. And he's like, well, come back to San Diego. You know what I mean? And come to PB and move weed for me. You know what I mean? I'll hook you up. And we'll get you can get some business going, right?
Sure.
And so instead of staying in Mammoth, and pursuing the snowboarding, which was going good, like everything's going good. You know what I mean? All this stuff, it's partying, but everything's going good.
Right. No consequences.
No, nothing. The little shit when I was younger, but whatever. I came back to San Diego and lived in PB, and fucking it's great. I'm back in PB.
Yeah.
And my brother has the fucking best weed. You know what I mean?
Oh shit.
He's a connoisseur. He's well known in PB.
I see.
And so so I'm getting this, and so I'm in high demand because this is the time. Everybody's still smoking Mexican back.
Oh
then.
Shit.
The CD weed. To get the
stems.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You're using trays to de-stem the shit. You know what I mean? You know the deal, right? There's and so, but he had just the best weed, right? And so I started selling weed for him, living in PB, stoked, just partying, doing all that kind of stuff. And then as I'm going to his house over and over again, I started noticing this like tinfoils sitting on like the counters and stuff like that, and they have the little trails going around. And finally, I'm like, dude, what is that? You know what I mean? Right. And he told me it was heroin. And so when I was 20 years old on Father's Day, that was the first time I tried heroin. I remember my brother looked at my girlfriend and he's like, should I get him high? And then, so we got high, and there it was again, right?
Yeah.
And, from that point on, I was grabbing weed and a balloon or two, and I'm still, I think I have control at this point, right?
Sure,
I'm just doing on the weekend. My brother's all, you're just partying, right? You're not hooked. I'm like, no, I'm just partying.
Right.
But then he gets locked up again, and I still want to do this, right? And one of my friends, actually right before he got locked up, one of my friends came down from Humboldt. He used to tour the dead and stuff like that, and he would come. We'd move weight, come down, grab like 100 packs, send it to the East Coast, that kind of stuff. Quick money. He'd bring down Humboldt weed, the whole thing.
Oh
yeah. And so we did this whole kind of thing. But when he came down, he's like, hey, and he's like one of my really good friends. He's like, hey, I started doing this new drug, and I'm like, yeah, well, me too.
Yeah.
And they found out it was heroin. He's like, can you get some? I say, yeah. So I get some from my brother, and I come back, and then he busts out needles, right? And yeah. And so like a month after me smoking it, I went right to the needle.
Right to the needle.
Yeah. Ooh. And once I was there,
oh, it's a wrap.
And it's just, it felt romantic. There's something about it, the whole process
ritual
of the knee. Yeah. And, I was just
picking it up.
Yeah, man. He was just like, I felt like the rock star without the band now.
Without the band. Not his band.
So I'm just like, and all my friends, they like the party, but I had to hide the heroin from them.
Oh, for sure.
All the other friends, I had to hide the heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do blow, and at that time you couldn't do meth anymore because meth was dirty. Yeah. Those were the, tweakers suck, stickers bikers, where everybody, all that kind of shit. Yeah. And it wasn't even the old biker dope anymore.
Oh,
it was
I went there.
Yeah, at that point we're at that section. And in OB, because I moved to OB from PB, but it was like in OB it was like, and if you're a heroin addict, you didn't hang out with tweakers, right? It was like,
of course not.
Yeah, tweakers were like guys that scurried around outside late at night and stole anything that wasn't bolted down, and we had like a low view of you. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, and So, anyways, I started using needles, and like my brother went to prison, so now I have to look for it, and it wasn't easy to find, right?
No shit.
Yeah, no, it wasn't easy to find back then because nobody's doing it. This is way pre OxyContin. This is years before the OxyContin craze, right?
I see.
And
like late 90s?
Yeah, mid 90s, 95.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
that's when like a bunch of those dudes were cuz like I know that heroin had an epidemic for a minute.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then, like I think when Cobain and Farley and all that, when they died, I think that's when it just kind of went away.
There was always the major stigma on
it, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's what I was
and
getting
heroin
at.
was the major stigma.
Like,
yeah, you're a junkie. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, that was the worst thing. You couldn't tell anybody, right?
Right.
And so I started looking, and of course, when I'm looking, I started looking around commercial, Barrio Logan.
Those are the spots.
Yeah, and so now I'm driving down there, and then I find a hookup down there, and so I'm doing it. And then my brother gets out of prison. I'm fully hooked. I'm telling him I don't have another hookup, so he thinks he's giving me some when and then I'm still getting it from there, and so now I'm full time. You know what I mean?
Full time.
Yeah, and so like. My family sees this, like my mom's kind of noticing I'm going the wrong way and all that kind of stuff. I think it was some kind of DUI or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But then, so I tried again to get my life back into order, right? And I went and did an internship up in Idlewild to do post-production sound editing for TV and motion pictures, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like my aunt lived in Idlewild. They sent me up there. I almost crashed. I was driving like a 73 Cadillac Coupe de Ville back then.
Shit, yeah.
I almost crashed that thing driving up because I'm nodding up on the windy roads, and my mom's behind me with a truck full of stuff, and she's like bawling her eyes out because she thinks I'm dying, right? And she's already watching her other son do all that, and so she was fighting as much as she could, right? So I went up there, did that internship, and then after the internship, I went down to, every weekend in San Diego getting shit, same thing.
Sure.
Then I go to Huntington Beach, and I got my degree, certificate degree in audio engineering up there. Yeah, and the whole time back and forth on the weekends trying to do it. Like I'm literally using heroin like on the weekends at this point, and then like kind of half kicking through the week until I get enough energy again while going to school. And I actually was able to get good grades. So like here I am pulling off both lives again.
Right.
And so I just thought I was fucking different.
Yeah.
I started getting sick, and having those kind of things, but I was able to handle it. I'm like, whatever, and
that's right.
Yeah. And that was, that's the delusion that keeps you in.
Absolutely.
That lets this thing take you.
You handle business.
Yeah. And so after that, but don't get it twisted. I handled business because I had help. Family help who got me out of there, tried to put me somewhere else, and tried to help me when I went to school. Because as long as I was doing that, I wasn't, I'm not like the guy that made so much money dealing drugs. I didn't make money dealing drugs. I made enough money to stay high.
Exactly. Right.
I mean? Yeah, sold a lot of drugs, but I just needed to get high all the time. Right. Yeah. And so when I graduated from there, I came back to San Diego, which was a big mistake again, because
for sure.
Right when I got back, I started getting onto heroin, and it was nonstop, right?
Yeah.
And, and my brother, I don't know if he was locked up or not at this time. He was in and out so much, and it was all just violations, you know what I mean, of probation, back
in those
laws
days
were so much stringent.
Dude, you do a year for a violation.
Dude, it's crazy, and the things I got caught with, I would have been doing prison time, if it was back then.
Exactly.
But I got Prop 36, PC 1000, all that kind of stuff. So,
did all those too.
Yeah. yeah, yeah.
Now it's a ticket.
Yeah, yeah. Then you get caught with an ounce, and it's like a misdemeanor. Like,
right. Pay a fine, please.
Yeah. Well, so when I graduated that college, at the last time, I got a DUI, right? But I was driving. I didn't know. I'm sorry, not a DUI. I had gotten a DUI before I went up there, but I got a driving on a suspended, right? And so I went to the court in Orange County, and I'm like, here, dude, this is they're like, well, I'm already paying the DUI. And they're like, well, it's $1,700. I don't have $1,700. 60 hours community service. I'm like, cool. Yeah. I do 30 of them. I don't get it done. And then I got finals coming up. I go ask for an extension. They give me an extension of a week during my finals. I go back. I'm just going to pay for it. They're like, you show a total lack of respect for this court. We're going to give you 10 days jail. Boom, right there. And I just graduated college. Damn. Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, so I go back saying I had to come and check myself in. When I check myself in, there's a piece of tinfoil in my shoe, wadded up in a ball. They unwad it. Yeah, and there's a little residue on it.
Oh my god!
So I get felony possession.
I knew it
for heroin on that one, right?
Test positive. It's good. That's heroin.
That's heroin.
That's heroin,
right?
Dude.
They waited a whole year to file, so I thought maybe I ditched it. 364 days. I get the letter that the DA picked up the case up there, right?
16-203.
Yeah. So I convinced them. They get me into Prop 30, the PC 1000 on that one. I convinced them to put me into a treatment center instead in San Diego.
Cool.
Now, this is important because the treatment center I go to, like, this is my first experience outside of watching my brother go to treatment, which I just think is a waste of money. I'm blaming my parents' divorce from the therapy and the treatment that we go through. So I think AA is a fucking joke.
Right.
And fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? It's just ruined my life, my family life and all that stuff. Well, I'm now going to the treatment center, and the owners of this place are fucking using.
Really?
Shit you not, and they got the power over us, right?
That's so wild.
And so, like, if you talk back to them, they were lying to my family, trying to get them to fund the next treatment center they wanted to do. God, and I'm telling you, dirty, dude. And so I had just a real bad experience there, right?
I feel that.
And so I was just like, I didn't buy into any of that. And I was 25 at this time.
Oh, for sure. That's going to be.
I still wasn't bought in. I mean, I had 5 years of my heroin addiction, but I wasn't, but I wasn't ready to quit.
Right. You didn't feel that.
I wasn't going to listen anyways. And I was like, fuck AA, fuck this whole treatment industry.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. And, and then the funny thing about that treatment center is not only did I get sentenced to it, my brother got paroled there.
No way.
So both me and my brother in the same treatment center, and so we just start running the show. Right, we're bobbing, weaving, getting high, covering all these kind of things. My brother's sleeping with the owner's daughter, so we got her bringing in dope. You know what I mean? It was ridiculous, right?
God damn.
Yeah, and so, so me and my brother, the thing I want to put in there is my brother and I's bond kind of came from us using together, which is really weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I had that too.
Yeah. And so I was like, and so, he and I, continued to use together for a while. Right.
I see.
But, he ended up getting sober way before me. Yeah.
Shit, really?
Yeah. And you know how fucked up my mind is? What? I got pissed at him for getting sober without me. I started thinking like, oh, he got me to get in his lifestyle so that he could become the good one. And then
my God.
I'm not even shitting you, dude. The delusions that go on in your head when you're in addiction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a resentment right there.
Yeah. Right? And I started calling my brother like a sober snob, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Too good.
Because I'm hanging out with the same homeboys that are, where's your brother? I'm like, he's a fucking sober snob. You know
Yeah. Too good for us.
Yeah. Whatever. But I got to the point where I'm doing like, of course, speedballs, right? Cocaine, heroin. Cocaine was okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's going in and out of treatment centers a bunch, right? Actually, one part in there after, I was 25. When I came out of the treatment center, I met a girl, right?
Okay.
Normie.
Right.
And we lived together. She had a boyfriend at the time, but that didn't matter. We ended up getting together.
Yeah.
And then she's like an actress, so she moves up to the Central. Once she says she got into this like acting school and she's going to go up there.
Okay.
So, of course, I proposed.
Damn, dude.
I don't propose. I give her a promissory ring, right?
Oh, a promissory ring.
Yeah, right. I'm strung out. She doesn't know I'm strung out. She doesn't even know what a heroin addict is, right? But she drinks with me and stuff like that. I'm fresh out of treatment, you know what I mean? And
so you're looking good.
I just jump right into a relationship because that's going to fix me, bro.
For sure, dude.
Yeah. And so her and I moved to the Central Coast together. I got a hard kick up in Santa Maria, California, and trying to hide it, right?
Right.
Hard kick. I get a job at a restaurant, and then I actually become a bartender there, right?
Fuck yes, dude.
The school audio guide doesn't show up, and so she goes, "Oh, my fiance is an audio guy." So then I get a job, and I'm an audio engineer, sound designer for a theater company, and the lead bartender at this place, and I start putting together a life.
Wow.
I'm paying for rent. I can bring Christmas presents home to the family.
Yeah.
I don't need money. I'm taking care of everything, right?
Yeah.
Which is the worst thing that can happen for an alcoholic and addict.
Absolutely.
Because now, again, I prove myself by exception to the rule. I'm different.
Right.
I'm not an addict. I just can't use heroin, right?
Right.
So I'm drinking, I'm smoking weed, doing all that stuff. And life is pretty good. And I'm surfing again. All these kind of things are going on. And unfortunately, I hurt my neck at work. And they prescribed me, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. And so they gave me some benzodiazepines and some, I remember it was Norco or something like that.
Mild painkiller.
And then I can't work. So.
So sets you up right there.
I know every bartender in town too.
Yeah.
And so I would just I'm allowed to have 4 of these a day. So I'd crunch them all, go to the bar and start drinking for free and do that. And then I started doing it. Well, when that pills ran out, I started looking for the prison tattoos from the guys in the back of the kitchen. So not only this is the second time I'm getting my plugs from the back of the kitchen,
Very reliable.
Yeah. So now I started getting strung out.
Yeah.
I have no solution. And I'm always searching for that, And so of course I come back to San Diego. I'm strung out. I'm supposed to be getting married. We get married in Mexico. Oh, so nice. This is my first time doing oxys because I'm about to get sick, and I've been I got a fucking wedding.
Right. Yeah. You got to be there.
I got appearances to hold up.
Yeah,
all that
course,
kind of bullshit. Right. So. All of us get together, start going to the pharmacy to go get some, Oxy 80s, right?
Oh, yeah.
I took one. Nothing happened, bro. People were telling me, I was strung out on heroin. Oxys did nothing for me. You know what I mean? So I had to go get a few. And so it was pretty expensive. They'll have it just to stay well throughout this wedding, right?
Yeah.
And, and of course, everybody knows that, my family knows I'm an alcoholic addict, but I have an open bar. Everybody's getting wasted. I'm doing this. So lots of people could see the writing on the wall that this isn't going to last.
Right.
But I don't believe it, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we ended up, I came back to, we were married in San Diego, in Ocean Beach. We're living in Ocean Beach, and I'm still using it every day, right? And I'm hiding it from her. I do stupid things. She'd come home, and so I could shoot up. I would be like, I'm a sweet husband. I poured you a bath so you could go take a bath. And so I knew where the fuck she was, so I could be in the kitchen.
Handle that.
I'm doing all this.
Such a nice guy.
Such a nice guy, dude. I'm so there for my wife.
Yeah.
Emotionally detached completely. Yeah, so I got a job at a casino as being an audio engineer. You know what I mean? And I'm being kind of successful again, but I'm using, and so I had to get on methadone because when you get on methadone, it's more of the thought of I'm trying to hold this job, and if I don't get dope, I have to call out. I can't, so I have to go to the methadone program and do that. Yeah. I got a gaming license with a felony. You know what I mean? A California games license with a felony.
Shit, dude.
So, anyway, so she leaves me, after treatment. I go in that treatment a bunch of times, and it doesn't matter. And after she left me, I was full throttle. I don't need to live a double life. I want to die because I got nothing. She didn't fix me. The job didn't fix me. The place in Ocean Beach didn't fix me.
Right.
And just now it's full throttle. Mm-hmm. About 6 months into that, where I wasn't going to die, I'm trying to kill myself with hot shots every night, barely showing up to things,
Yeah.
And I went to another treatment center and did the thing that you're not supposed to do. I got a girlfriend there.
Oh yeah, another
in detox. My angel.
Oh, nice,
right?
dude.
Yeah. Everybody tells you don't do it. We came back to San Diego anyway. 7 years of fucking hell.
Fuck.
And I don't even go into detail. There's a whole movie in this. Right?
I'm not
going to talk about that. Yeah, just because you know how it is. You have so many lives in that disease, right?
Absolutely, dude.
Anyways, I'm not putting anything really together. I'm all over the place, and it's crazy. And finally, like my addiction's so crazy. Like I got at the end I'm going to a treatment center at one point, and I think I'm getting to the end. It's about 10 years in, but that's when the Oxycontin crazy really hit.
Yeah.
And when I used to go to treatment, I was the only heroin addict. It was all tweakers, right?
Right.
And there's some old timer, old wood, like, hey, young blood, what are you doing, dude? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, well, I like it too,
right.
But then I started seeing these younger kids coming in, and they're talking about being on the opiate, and then they're looking for heroin.
Yeah.
Well, fucking opportunity.
Arrives.
They started asking me for dope, and I can get dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so all those years of me using heroin, all the other years you're selling, I could use my product, right? Mm-hmm. All the years of heroin, I had nothing to sell it to, so my life goes to shambles because all my money is going there and nowhere, right? And it makes it difficult. So it is.
Now you have a demand.
Yeah, and I think it made my heroin addiction go for another 10 years because I just started selling this shit,
Right.
And it was, it just, every day, trying to shoot up, hitting the methadone clinic, trying to get benzodiazepines on top. Now I'm doing meth now too because meth is cool again. No, like because the younger age for some reason they've turned into goofballs and everybody's like mixing all this stuff together, right. and then it turned into the fucking Wild West out there.
Yeah, dude.
And so I have abscesses everywhere, and I'm getting them cut off. And at one point they said I was going to lose my arm, but I had a doctor give me like Rocephlin, which I had to inject this antibiotic into my ass every day. And to show you how crazy the mind is like, you're going to lose your arm if you keep putting this poison in. So I'm like, well, I can't shoot in that arm anymore.
Right.
But I can shoot in this leg then.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all the same blood.
It's all the same. It goes to the same spot.
But I can't stop.
Right.
I can't stop. I can't even come close to stopping. And so I got arrested again at the end, for sales. Yeah.
Sales of heroin.
Yeah. And it was
and that was demonizing charge.
And the thing was I knew at that moment, I had to get away from this chick. She's, I can't, it's tumultuous. Right. And so I was just done. I'm not asking for anybody. In fact, when I got arrested, I got jumped at like a trolley stop where I went to meet him. A bunch of cops jumped out of the car. I think I got set up, but who cares?
Right.
I had such an abscess on my arm, right? That they wouldn't take me into the jail, so they sent me back to they took me downtown. Yeah. Downtown had to send me back to the El Cajon because I was in an El Cajon trolley stop that I met this guy, right? Uh-huh. And then that cop had to drive me to the hospital. He was so pissed. And so I just don't even go in the hospital. I go through the doors and I turn around and I get a fucking cab home and go back to doing what I'm doing. But that was like kind of like the beginning of me actually getting sober.
No shit, dude.
Yeah, they sentenced me. They said look, you can. I ended up getting a sales charge. I probably could have kept fighting it, but I showed up to court with like taking too much Xanax. You're kind of like just fuck it, like sign, whatever, dude.
Check this box, please.
Yeah. So I do the guy goes, hey, we can give you, the PO calls me in before I'm even arrested, and he says, I'm going to be your PO, which I've never heard of that.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, and he wants me to test him. Well, bro, I'm going to light that thing up. That's the problem. I'm on so much methadone. I'm on over 200 mils of methadone.
Really?
Yeah, I'm taking about 3+ grams of heroin a day.
On top.
I'm taking about 6 benzos, like Xanny bars, because I love Xanny bars. And meth, right? And meth is what kind of keeps me up, but also the one that gets me paranoid. So then I have to take the benzos to come back down, right. Because I can't go out selling dope because with a bench warrant and no license if I'm paranoid. But if I'm on Xanax, I can drive everywhere.
Anywhere.
Fuck it, yeah. So
the balance,
the chasing the balance, right? And so they put me in. The guy says, "Well, I'll give you, you can have 6 months in treatment or a year in jail." All right.
Well,
and I told him, "Give me the year in jail."
What? You did?
I did. I absolutely did, because like I would. The hardest thing for me, Lewis, was like my family at this point had accepted I was gone.
Yeah.
My brother had been sober for like 12 years at this point. I've been going on for so long, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just, they stopped having the hope in their eyes.
Right.
And I wasn't, in my mind, I'm not hurting them anymore.
Yeah.
But if they told me that I was going to go to treatment, right, I know what happens. I get sober in treatment centers, but I don't stay sober.
Right.
So if I get sober in this treatment center, I'm going to start to give them hope again.
Yeah.
And if I, and I don't want to take it away from them again.
Right.
Right. And I didn't believe in myself anymore. Right. And I didn't care anymore. Right. Nothing I had was like going to work. And the only thing that was working for me was to stay on the drugs. Yeah. And I figured I was just going to die that way. Well, the PO was funny. He was a dick, actually. I don't have resentment towards him anymore, because in a way he saved my life. Right. But, he said, "Well, cool. Yeah, we'll sign you up for that year in jail." Okay. And then he's like, "But when you get out, you got to do 6 months in treatment." Oh, my fucking God, dude. What a fucking dick. Yeah, dude. And I'm good enough at math to realize that's, a year and 6 months or 6 months, So I'm like, yeah, okay, give me the treatment, dude, And so I go to New Connection. I go to a detox. I go to New Connections. And I get kicked out of there about 5 different times, because really? I'm selling drugs out of there. I'm doing all the things I do. I'm not ready to stop. This is I have to do 6 months there, and I'm just trying to get it done. Yeah. Last time I get kicked out of there, I'm bailing out of there, and I'm going to run. You know what I mean? And just to be honest, they broke HIPAA. They called my mom. They called my mommy, dude. I'm 40 years old. Right? And I didn't sign an ROI. That's what I was about to say. Yeah, hey. And as I'm walking out of the place, my mom's pulling up, and I'm walking out looking like junky Santa Claus with 2 glad bags full of shit, getting ready to go on a run, right? And so she pulls up and says, "Get in the car," and we have the big, this fight and the argument, and then she takes me to the house, and then at the house, she's like, "Please just come here and look at some treatment center options," right? And I'm looking around, I see all these pictures on the wall, and on the wall, it's like, like family members and all this kind of stuff. And I've been gone for so long, like out of the family, really, you know what I mean? Yeah, and you kind of missed out on. And I'm seeing my uncle who's dead, my other uncle who's dead now, and I've seen pictures that I'm not in, and I just had this like kind of epiphany where it's like, if I don't try now, what am I going to do another 10 years of this? I'm 20 years into my heroin addiction. Yeah, And so I said, okay. And I looked at a couple places. 2 of the places were in town, right where I get dope. I'll get my phone in 3 days. Ooh. This would just be a waste of time, right? Straight up. Yeah. So the other one was way out in the hill, like off the grid. It wasn't Freedom Ranch, but it was Genesis Recovery. Yes. Yeah. I'm very familiar with them. Yeah. So we got a hold of Tommy, who's also from PB, who knows my brother and all that kind of stuff, and the same group of people there, the locals in that area. And he asked me if I'm serious, and I lied to him, like, yeah, I'm serious. Yeah. And we go out there, dude, and thank God it was way off the grid. It's too far for me to run away from. Right. And I'm still not thinking I'm going to get sober, to tell you the truth, but I just like, at least I'll get off paper. And and then I started getting sober, and it's 6 months. I've never done 6 months in treatment. Yeah. Yeah. That's a commitment. Yeah. I've never done, and I had forced to do the 6 months. Right. And my brain started to heal a little bit. Started thinking a little less crazy. Yeah. I wasn't fully in. In fact, I was probably the fucking biggest asshole on that hill. And maybe. The only reason I didn't get kicked out is because they gave me grace. You know what I mean? I gave them every reason because I want to be kicked out. Right. I want to go back to where that excuse. Yeah. So I really just got into the steps, man. I started doing the steps, and they actually tricked me on the 4th step. They're like, if you don't get your 4th step done by Monday, we're going to call your PO and you're going away, right? I'm not even shitting you.
Fuck.
A little motivation to get my fourth done, right? And
Wow.
so I did. I just cranked it out. You know, I'm sitting there, and then people go, "Did you have any relief from doing the 4-step?" I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't go to fucking prison.
Yeah, I didn't go to jail.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
yeah." So, anyways, they got me in it. I started, starting to feel a little hope.
I see.
Yeah, and starting to see that, and some good people around there. A lot of good people, right?
The camaraderie.
Yeah, community. I hadn't been just around dudes and talking, and that's the first time I went to like an all male treatment center. Except, New Connections, all male, but the Kiva Divas are right down the way.
Right there. They're in sight.
Yeah. And so always distractions
For sure, dude.
So all male, and no phones, no nothing.
Yeah.
The whole 6 months I had to do. It's a 3-month program. I had to stay up there forever. 6 months. So I saw everybody come and go. And,
Dude, I've been there.
But yeah,
you're like the lifer.
Yeah. But I got through it, man. And when I came to San Diego, I had a little bit of hope, and so I really got protective of my recovery.
Yeah.
And so I went to like 3 meetings a day. I went to my brother. My brother owns sober living at this point.
Oh, damn.
And I went there, and I became the manager there, which is another thing that really helped me out because
it did?
Yeah, man, being a manager of sober living, I can't. Like I said, I like to know things by experience, and I also like to show by experience. I'm not going to tell you to do shit I'm not doing.
Right.
I'm not going to I had to lead by example.
Absolutely.
And that kept me really on point, and also I was trying to, make amends to my brother and, my family and not make them, have to worry about me all the time. And all that stuff. So I really wanted to kind of do what I could do. Right.
Yeah.
So I really started doing the deal, and it just kept one thing after another working out. I got offered a job to work in treatment.
Yeah. How long?
I was like a year sober. The guy asked me if I knew anybody that wanted the job, because I never wanted to work in treatment.
Right.
Never. Like everybody said, you'd be good at this. Well, of course you'd be good at it. I've been in so many fucking groups, Like I've got a master's in this by now.
Right.
I've been in that treatment forever, you have to be a moron not be able to do that, right?
Right.
That's my thought. And it looked like an ungrateful job, Success rates suck,
Yeah.
You're overworked. People don't like you, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want that job.
Yeah.
So I looked around and I told the guy, no, I couldn't find anybody. He said, well, I was asking if you wanted it. And I'm like, no. And then I'm like, well, a couple of days later, I'm like, I'll work a couple of days a week for you, just maybe it'll be a way to give back.
Sure.
And when I was there, the girl, the therapist, she's like, you should go and go to school. And I had nothing else going. So I signed up for City College.
Oh, did that?
Started doing the classes. Yeah, I did the ODS program there. And then I decided to move back to working with Tommy because he opened a place in San Diego. So,
yes.
Yeah. But that's like kind of how I got, sober and out of that mess. And the thing is like with me, it's like I was chasing anything and everything, and I would sell everything. Right. Fentanyl was around, right? And I was using fentanyl. They would call it China White back there, and it wasn't China White, right? It's fentanyl, right?
Right.
There was China White, but there was always fentanyl. I would search out fentanyl actually because my tolerance is so crazy. Yeah, I'd search it out.
The strongest shit.
Yeah, but I never liked it. It didn't have legs. It didn't give me the rush that I liked from the needle with the heroin. Yeah. I was just a heroin addict. So I'd always have the micro patches, the 100 microgram patches just for kicking. I'd put them on me and then do Suboxone a day later. You know what I mean? I had these kick systems and stuff like that. All these waves, all these years of it, right? But like it was, the reason I kind of bring this up is I'm in fear. Like when I saw you start this thing, right?
Yeah,
Fuck
you did.
fentanyl, right?
Yeah, you did.
And I remember, and you asked me if I wanted a sweatshirt one time, and like my mom started a nonprofit organization called A New Path because of my brother's addiction. And in 2014, like a year before I got sober, they started putting out Narcan to people, like naloxone to people, so that they could get treated, right? Yeah. Her nonprofit, like her pain because of me and my brother's addiction, started a nonprofit that saves like. They have reported over 3,500 people saved by Narcan.
Absolutely.
Right? So, that's, a big thing. And, a new path is like Parents for Addiction Treatment and Healing, right?
Yeah.
And, she was so lost and not knowing what to do. They were actually the ones that got Prop 36 started.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. She sat on the state chair to get Prop 36 started. And I'm actually benefited from being on Prop 36.
Yeah.
Right? So my feeling is that we really got to be careful, right? Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is that, I see shirts that say, kill your local fentanyl dealer.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
How is it not? Did we forget where we came from?
Yeah.
Like, did you sell drugs?
I sure did.
Did I sell drugs? Yeah, I sure did. Am I Pablo Escobar? No.
No.
You know what I mean? And am I the boogeyman? No. I was hooking at homeboys that were in for the dope anyways, and I was just trying to survive from my habit, you know? And when we start, like, making a hate towards a certain drug like that, what we do is we power up the justice system again. Mm-hmm. Or we start making like more laws that are, more stringent on this drug. When fentanyl's done, there's already drugs coming out. They're saying that's going to replace fentanyl because it's even stronger, all that kind of stuff. Right. They're just going to move on to the next thing. It's a fucking machine. Yeah. Right. The justice system, private prisons, prison guard union, the lobbyists that come for that, they're looking for their end to like get people to stay in prison. We love to lock people up.
Yeah,
they don't like reform. They don't like Prop 36, PC 1000. They don't like any of that kind of stuff, treatment.
They don't want to live in a solution.
No, they want to lock because it's a big business. There's a lot of money in it, right? Yeah, dude. And then you get people like, honestly, when you hear people that die of fentanyl, if they don't say overdose, they say fentanyl poisoning. Mostly. Like somehow I'm coming into your room behind you and putting fentanyl in your drink till you die, right? That's because of stigma. Right. The stigma on that is the parents don't want to admit their kid was using drugs. Right. Because that implies my home isn't a good home and I'm not a good parent and that I'm not doing that. Right. And, and this only became a big deal because I hate to say it, but because the Oxycontin epidemic became a heroin epidemic. And the only reason that people started like getting on board with trying to get help for all this stuff is because white kids, rich kids, little Timmy from the suburbs was having troubles. Remember the crack epidemic back in the day, they were locking up everybody in the hood, no problem. No problem. $20 for, a crack rock. But then they, someone would get busted with 2 ounces of, powdered coke. Yeah. They would get, softer and, softer, charges. Yeah, I know, dude. Because white people are doing that, right? Yeah. So I'm always in fear of, when we start like demonizing the drug and not looking at the addiction and the solution. Right. Right. Yeah. And because of that, the thing I love about what you're doing and why I came here to do this is that I'm in the drug world, right? I've lived in the drug world. I'm in recovery. My mom has a nonprofit. I've been around this thing forever and I'm in tune. I do, trainings. I've used narcan. I've myself have saved like double digits of people from overdosing, from living that disease. I don't say that to brag. I say that to because that's how crazy it is out there. Absolutely. That. Yeah, dude. You've seen it. I've seen it. I've had my share of experience of loss of good people that I truly loved who were from fentanyl. Right. Right. It'd be easy to be mad at the fentanyl and the drug. Right. Right. I want to make it the boogeyman. Right. It's addiction. It's lack of education. It's lack of resources to get people help. Yeah. And so if we start powering that up, we're now, if hey, dude, can you get me some? You're going to go get some dope? Yeah, cool. I go get it. I give you some. You overdose, die. I'm on trial for murder. Right. We're missing the mark. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we've all been out there. Yeah. We know how it goes. Right. I like the idea of going after China for making fentanyl. Sure, right. I like the idea of going after the source, the big guys, the cartels that they're going to, the main guys, not the guys driving it across who are just trying to provide for their families too, because they're living in poverty. And if I had kids down there and they weren't eating and I, had an opportunity to make some money by driving, I'd fucking try to do that 100%. Too. Yeah, I would do that too. We're not going after them. Why would we not go after them? Because it's big business. The money. Absolutely, dude. Yeah. They go after pawns. They go after pawns, and we're the ones that pay for it. Right. And because of me getting diversion, I'm sober.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know people got sober after doing prison and stuff like that too. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, it can help, and I'm not saying it doesn't, but I'm just saying like we got to focus on, you know, on the recovery aspect and helping people instead of demonizing things just because of stigma and this and that.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But the thing I love about what you're doing is because I'm in this drug world, we know about this.
Right.
You're putting it out there so that people are starting to, you know, more people are starting to see it.
Yeah.
Like when I do Narcan and I'm trying to get people Narcan, you know, a response I get a lot is, here, do you want to get some Narcan? Well, why do I need it?
Yeah. Right.
That's the wrong answer.
Absolutely.
It's a wrong way of thinking. I don't hang out with junkies.
Yeah.
I'm not a drug addict. You know, why do I need it? I'm not around that class of people.
Right.
That's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely it is.
Everybody should have it. You know, it should be in schools, elementary schools. It should be in churches. It should be everywhere, you know, that anybody can have it, because we are in an epidemic, pandemic. It's, you know, all over the world. Yeah. But, you know, that is like, it's frustrating. Yeah. So as long as, you know, you're doing what you're doing and more people are hearing about it and they start getting it, then I see the benefit of that. You know
absolutely,
what I mean?
Dude.
And I absolutely do. I'm just always in fear that, you know, people start to take their pain or their suffering and turn it into rage against something that just empowers something else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No.
Not seeing the big picture of what it is.
Right. No, absolutely.
You know?
And it's hard, but, you know.
It's really hard because it hurts. Yeah. You lose a loved one, you lose a son, a daughter to fentanyl, and you want to blame something, right? And you want to make sure that that's it. And I totally get it. And I hope you don't get, you know, clap back from what I'm saying on this.
Why
you know?
not?
But like at the same point, it's like, I want to reiterate, I've had a lot of loss because of
absolutely.
Fentanyl. A lot of my good homeboys, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, friends and stuff like that. It's just been it's been monstrous to watch.
Yeah, dude.
You know, especially working in the field.
Yeah. We're in the front lines of it.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah. So, you know, that's you know, that was why I was a little hesitant at first. Tuning that stuff down. I just wanted to let you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But no, I get it too, dude. It's I spoke at one of these awareness places, and I did say, like, if it wasn't for laws, like if I would have just got a ticket, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you still run.
I run. I just keep fucking getting loaded.
We're still gonna run. Yeah, you know, but like, you know, if it's just a ticket, but if it's like, hey man, you know, you gotta go to treatment for this.
Right.
Now it doesn't mean I'm gonna get sober that time.
Probably not.
But the seed's gonna be planted.
Yeah.
I'm going to know a little bit. When I got sober this time, the seed had been planted so much that, like, you know, I was almost using the AA to manipulate the character. Like, I learned the book and the stuff just so I could go, hey, dude, look, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Look that direction so I can go do drugs over here. Sure. You know what I mean? You know, so, but when I finally decided to get sober, I'm like, shit, I know this stuff. This can help me. You know?
Maybe I should actually do this
Maybe
stuff.
I should apply this stuff. I had no idea how to apply it in my life, you know, but I did have I had enough of experience that I felt some comfort in this, and I knew that there was something there for me. And I've seen enough people that use drugs like I did get sober there.
Right.
And so it was like there was something, like, you know, it's just trying to click that I could get sober, not that you could get sober.
Right.
That I'm not the hopeless variety, that I'm not the one that's constitutionally incapable of being honest with myself.
Right.
Right. And that I wanted something. When I got sober, man, I was 40. I had Hep C. I was exposed to TB. Yeah. I broke up by that tumultuous relationship of 7 years. I've been divorced. I had good jobs. I had no jobs. I was like at one point escrow in a condo, but I had nothing. I'm just, you know, I was as low as I could be, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I just, like, when they told me, like, you know, oh, not only do you have Hep C, but you also got, you know, exposed to TB. I'm like, just take me out back and shoot me. You know what I mean? Right. Why am I going to get sober? Right. I'm 40 years old. What do I got? A white picket fence, a wife and a kid? No, I ain't got that coming. I ain't got a job coming to me.
Right.
But that's like the mindset I was in.
Yeah, dude.
Today, you know, I'm engaged.
Yeah.
I got a good job. I'm not rich. I got a good job.
Right.
But I got rad relationships. Mm. I don't wake up every morning and my first thing isn't that I say to myself is fuck.
Right.
My mantra, fuck, right?
Right.
No, it's I feel good, dude. I get out of bed and I get to my routine. I got it, and I get to go surfing all the time.
Hell yeah.
You know, I've been able to travel.
Yeah.
You know, I have a son who's going to turn 3 in 2 weeks, dude.
Wow.
People ask me if I'm his granddad sometimes, you know, but, you know, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to have a kid, you know what I mean? And like just,
yeah, dude.
And I got a beautiful son named Zyler. And, you know, and it's just like, if I would have cut myself off from trying at that point, like I wanted to, I would have never gotten to all this stuff.
Right.
You know, so I want to add that because I want people to hear that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's like, you know, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't leave this chance for an opportunity that you don't know it's coming, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you, dude.
Yeah. I mean, you know, me and my brother are like best friends now.
I was about to ask about this.
Yeah, no, we're like best friends. You know, he loves my son to death. Actually, he calls my son his best friend.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I got a lot of support with him because my family just, you know, dotes on him and stuff like that. So it's good.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, brother, so much for coming on here, dude.
Yeah.
I really respect you, dude, and I really, I appreciate everything you do for the community, man. You're definitely like one of the real deals. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that, man. Yeah.
Been through the trenches and made it out, man. Like fucking.
There's a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of us that went through the trenches and made it out. You being one of them too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. This episode is brought to you by SD Sober Living. If you or someone you know needs a safe, supportive recovery home, then reach out to SD Sober Living at www.sdsoberliving.org or call 619-334-9869. That's 619-334-9869. Come get some fuck fentanyl and some San Diego recovery at SD Sober Living.